They had rehearsed the mission 100 times. Maps, drone scans, infrared sweeps, everything said the valley was quiet. But war doesn't care about confidence. War waits for a heartbeat of weakness and then strikes like a predator. 10 U.S. Army Rangers moved silently through the rugged Afghan mountains under the fading sunset, their boots sinking into dust that had witnessed decades of conflict. The mission was supposed to be simple: verify a rumored weapons convoy route. No engagement, no firefots, just observation. Their leader, Sergeant Jacob Price, a man forged from discipline and scars, trusted the briefing. But 20 minutes after losing drone signal, a strange static flooded their comms. Radios glitched, GPS failed, and then the world erupted. Gunfire tore through the rocks like thunder, splitting earth. Bullets shredded the air, hitting so close that dirt sprayed into their eyes. The Rangers dove for cover behind shattered stone walls and the rusted skeleton of an old Soviet truck. Ambush, someone shouted, but everyone already knew. The enemy wasn't small. It was an entire regiment hiding in the dark, waiting like wolves circling prey. They were trapped, outnumbered, and worst, cut off. Reinforcements would take hours. Ammo would last maybe 20 minutes. The youngest ranger, Private Ellis, breathed fast, panic strangling him. Price grabbed his vest, staring him dead in the eyes. "Look at me. We're not dying today. Rangers don't break. Rangers don't beg. Rangers fight." But even Price couldn't ignore reality. Every direction was danger. Every second meant fewer bullets, less hope, and death creeping closer. With shaking fingers and a voice he hated hearing tremble, Price did something no ranger ever once recorded in his after-action report. He pressed his emergency beacon and whispered into the silent channel mic. "This is Ranger Team Sierra 4. We are pinned. We are outnumbered. Hostiles closing. SOS, repeat. SOS." Miles away, on the cold ridge of a distant mountain, a lone figure sat in silence behind a camouflaged sniper blind. No unit patch. No visible rank. Just a woman, calm, quiet, unmoving, staring through a scope like she was looking into time itself. Her codename was known only in restricted files: Specter. She wasn't assigned to the Rangers. She wasn't even technically present in the country. No roster claimed her. No radio called her. But she monitored emergency channels, because sometimes soldiers fell into darkness where no one else could reach. When Price's broken voice reached her headset, she didn't hesitate. She didn't ask permission. She didn't wait for orders. She closed her notebook, adjusted the cheek weld on her rifle, a custom .408 Chaytak modified for extreme range, and began packing. Every movement was deliberate, rehearsed, whisper silent. She slid across rocky ground like a shadow born from the mountain itself. 2 kilometers she crawled, not walked, because walking meant angles, movement, exposure. Crawling meant invisibility. When she finally reached a vantage ledge overlooking the valley where the Rangers were cornered, her expression never changed. Not shock, not fear, just calculation. Dozens of heavily armed hostiles advanced with confidence, shouting war cries as they tightened the noose. The Rangers fought back, but every burst of fire cost ammunition they couldn't afford. Price saw one of his men, Carter, get hit in the shoulder. Blood spread. Carter screamed, and the ambush tightened even further. Specter exhaled and settled behind her scope. Her world shrank to one target, one breath, one shot. Distance, 1,942 meters. Wind, irregular. Elevation, steep. Any ordinary sniper would wait, but Specter wasn't ordinary. She fired. The shot was nearly silent, more a whisper than a gunshot, but the enemy fighter she aimed at dropped instantly, falling without noise or warning. The Rangers jerked their heads up, confused, unsure whether it was luck or miracle. The enemy froze, scanning ridges, doorways, rooftops, anywhere a shooter could hide. But Specter was in the one place no one expected, a place requiring patience and pain only mastered by ghosts. Another adjustment, 2 clicks left for wind shift. Another shot, another hostile down. No shout, no panic yet, just confusion. The Rangers looked at each other. Price whispered, "That wasn't us." The third shot caused panic. The fourth made chaos. Hostiles ducked, scrambled, pointed randomly into mountains. Specter's breathing slowed even more, her heartbeat syncing with her trigger like a metronome of death. Private Ellis, still shaken, heard Price mutter under his breath, "Someone is out there." But someone wasn't helping. Someone was hunting. Specter tracked a squad leader attempting to coordinate counterfire, her reticle landing on his temple with emotionless precision. Fire. Drop. Fire. Drop. She became a silent storm, removing key threats faster than the enemy could react. Within minutes, bodies lay scattered, not clustered, meaning the kills were intentional, selective, ordered. Not luck, not chaos, expert intervention. But the enemies regrouped, and this time they adapted. Mortar teams moved forward. Machine gunners repositioned. A spotter waved hand signals to triangulate angles. They still couldn't see her, but they were learning she existed. The Ranger ammo count fell to a critical point. Price knew they couldn't hold forever. He keyed radio again. "Unknown friendly. If you hear me, thank you. But we need more." No reply came, because Specter didn't talk during work. Instead, she relocated, silently dragging herself 10 meters sideways to avoid detection. Then she saw them. A mortar team preparing a high-explosive round, enough to wipe the entire Ranger position in one shot. Specter's jaw clenched. She didn't aim for the gunner. She aimed for the mortar shell itself, calculating velocity and impact timing in under 1 second. She fired. The round detonated instantly, not in the sky, but in the enemy's hands. The explosion ripped across the valley, sending dirt, fire, and bodies into the air. The shockwave rolled over the terrain like a monster waking up. The Rangers ducked instinctively. Then Carter whispered, voice trembling, "That wasn't luck." The enemy momentum shattered. Some ran, some froze, some screamed orders in panic. But it didn't matter. Specter had already marked them. The battlefield shifted from chaos into something colder, something controlled. The enemy commander, desperate and humiliated, barked orders for a flanking maneuver. 6 fighters moved along a trench line, hoping to catch the Rangers from the rear. Specter was already watching them through thermal overlay, glowing silhouettes trying to become ghosts. But ghosts don't outrun Specter. She adjusted her scope with small, precise movements, tracking each heartbeat, each shift of muscle. The first flank fighter dropped with a spine shot. The second fell mid-step, as if gravity forgot how to work. The third tried to crawl behind a boulder, but Specter waited, patient, unmoving, until his head finally peeked out, desperate to understand what hunted them. 1 bullet answered him. The final 3 panicked and fired blindly at shadows. Their bullets hit nothing. Specter's hit everything. Soon, the flank was over, erased before it ever mattered. The Rangers slowly realized the impossible. The enemy wasn't closing anymore. The threat wasn't growing. It was shrinking, 1 precise kill at a time. But the enemy still had numbers and anger. A final wave charged, not strategic, but savage, fueled by rage and humiliation. They ran with reckless momentum, firing wildly as they advanced in the open. The Rangers braced, ready to fight until the last magazine, last breath, last heartbeat. Price roared commands, rallying what remained of resolve. Bullets cracked the earth around them like lightning striking sand. Private Ellis began firing bursts, fearless now, screaming through exhaustion. And then, right when the wave reached 50 meters, the kill zone, Specter broke her silence. Her shots didn't come rhythmically now. They came rapid, controlled, frighteningly fast. It didn't sound like one sniper. It sounded like an executioner with math for blood and ice for a heartbeat. One by one, the attackers fell. Some dropped mid-sprint. Others collapsed, reaching for fallen rifles. Some just froze, terrified, before a round silently found them. In less than 2 minutes, the battlefield changed from a massacre waiting to happen into a graveyard of those who believed numbers were more powerful than precision. For the first time in what felt like hours, silence claimed the valley. Price rose slowly, scanning for movement. None. Smoke drifted from burned equipment. Wind carried dust across bodies that minutes ago believed victory was guaranteed. Carter clutched his wounded shoulder, alive only because someone unseen decided he should be. Ellis, sweating and breathless, whispered, voice trembling, "We're alive?" The Rangers didn't celebrate. Warriors don't cheer survival. They honor it. Price grabbed the radio, switched frequencies, and spoke with steady respect. "Unknown sniper. Whoever you are, you saved us. We owe you our lives." For a long moment, there was nothing. Then, finally, a calm female voice answered, low and steady. "Get moving. Exfil Point is 2 kilometers north. You have 10 minutes before reinforcements arrive." Her tone wasn't emotional. It was precise, directive, protective. Price replied, "Understood, but identify yourself." Another pause. Then, a faint, almost invisible edge of amusement in her voice. "You already know who I am." Price froze. His eyes widened slightly, recognition dawning. Her name wasn't spoken, because it wasn't meant to be spoken. She wasn't rumor. She was a myth. She was the sniper commanders denied existed. The one whose confirmed record was locked away, so deep even generals needed permission to whisper about her. "Specter." Price tried once more. "Come with us. You're part of this now." But the radio only returned static at first, then one final message. "I don't walk off the battlefield. I disappear from it." And just like that, she was gone. The Rangers moved, wounded but alive, following her instructions exactly. 10 minutes later, a rescue bird hovered over the extraction point. As they boarded, medics rushed Carter and checked every remaining soldier in disbelief. Because statistically, logically, mathematically, the Rangers shouldn't have survived. As the helicopter lifted, Price stared back at the valley where ghosts and gunfire had written a story no official report would ever tell. Ellis finally spoke, voice soft but certain. "Sergeant, was she real?" Price didn't blink, didn't hesitate. He simply answered, "She was real enough to save us." The helicopter banked left, leaving the battlefield behind. But something stayed with them, a story that would be whispered across bases, camps, and training rooms, that a story soldiers would ask each other softly. "Do you think she's out there listening?" And somewhere on a distant ridge where the wind carried only silence and memory, a lone sniper adjusted her scope, scanned a new valley, and whispered, "SOS channel open. I'll be watching." Because Specter wasn't just a soldier. She was the line between death and survival. She was the bullet no one heard coming. She was the ghost who answered when warriors whispered, "Help."